New research finds the push to screen for colon cancer at a younger age is linked in part to a recent increase in detecting early stage cancers. The data from the American Cancer Society, just published by the medical journal JAMA, shows screenings are rising since the recommended age to start them was dropped down to age 45 in 2021. That increase is seen in the stats here, with 34% of adults getting screened in 2023. Mercy Health General Surgeon Dr. Ornelas is with us now to explain the findings, also the top symptoms us adults need to be watching for. Doctor, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, those screenings are so important. For colorectal cancer, it's recommended to start at age 45. Are you seeing a rise in early stage cancer detection locally because of the changes in the screening guidelines?
I think what we're seeing a lot is we're really seeing a lot of, with those younger patients coming in, is we're seeing not only, cancers in those patients, but we're also seeing, more importantly, we're seeing the polyps in those patients. And we're finding those polyps at an earlier stage where we're able to treat them much more effectively, hopefully just with a colonoscopy versus, traditionally those patients were coming in with later stage disease, and they were really coming in with more aggressive tumors and things like that where they needed more aggressive treatment. So ideally, with them coming in sooner, we're able to get them facilitated with a much easier kind of treatment plan.
How much of an impact do you think that's going to have on the overall treatment for folks? Because you're seeing these patients come in. Are you, a little bit surprised or relieved by some of the numbers you're starting to see?
I think those numbers are really starting to get better with that younger group, that 45 to 49-year-old group coming in and getting their screening colonoscopies. I think when that recommendation first came out, the numbers of those patients coming in were a lot smaller than they are now. I think now we're seeing between 30 and 40% of people of age for screening colonoscopies in that age group are coming in. Not as high as we'd like to see, but certainly we're kind of seeing that trend of those patients coming in more frequently to get their screenings as the information is getting out there.
Doctor, what are the most common signs of colon cancer?
Really, the biggest signs are, the more worrisome signs are the change in bowel habits, changes with diarrhea or constipation issues that some people might just chalk up to just being those. Rectal bleeding, certainly, dark tarry stools, which means, you could be bleeding higher up in the colon on the right side versus, bloody stools, which indicates something lower. Unfortunately, a lot of patients think that bloody stools or, blood in the bowel movements might just be indicative of hemorrhoids, which, fortunately, a lot of times that is the case, but not always. So it's really important to kind of get screened. Other things such as abnormal weight loss or any other kind of constitutional symptoms with fatigue, could be indicative of anemia and things like that as well, are really important to get checked out with your doctor.
Now, do you have the possibility of having no symptoms at all for a while?
Certainly, especially in certain parts of the colon, you can really have late stage present in a later stage, with colon cancer, unfortunately, which is why a lot of those symptoms are really important to look out for. Even what might be mild symptoms might be your first warning sign, because, especially in early stage colon cancer, when that colon tumor isn't very big at that point, you might not have the bleeding, you might not have the blockages and things like that. So it's really important to stay up on those screenings, kind of as we recommend.
What are some testing methods and how can people access them? Is this something you could do at home, or do you have to see the doctor?
Certainly there are options to do it at home. I think the gold standard still has been the colonoscopy for detection rates, but there are home-based options, things like the stool-based tests where you kind of send a stool sample in, they'll mail it to your house, and you send it back in through the mail, and you'll get a result. There are blood-based tests as well. That's kind of more recent. Also, problem is I think you need to actually have your doctor's office kind of draw that blood work. That actually I don't think has been really taken up by a lot of the insurance companies yet. It's also those stool-based tests and the blood tests aren't quite as accurate as a colonoscopy. And of course, if those ever come back positive, you do need a colonoscopy just to make sure, obviously.
Well, it's very important to get those screenings when you can, as early as you can. Doctor, thank you so much for taking time to join us, as this is a very important study from the American Cancer Society, just published, and people need to pay attention. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.